Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on HorizonLens, the financial planning application. And in this video, we'll be looking specifically at the Plan tab and the table, which gives you a year-by-year projection and your outcomes across the full plan. So this view is particularly useful if you want to have a year-by-year breakdown and see exactly what is going on under the covers in terms of the calculations. So this is the table view, and you can reach it by clicking Plan at the top and then Table. So at the top here, you've got the financial mentor giving you some advice in terms of whether your plan looks good, and this one does. Over on the right here, we have the ability to select between the various stages. We have accumulation and decumulation. And over here, you can choose between the general net assets, or if you change it to your total net worth, which of course is going to include things like property. I'm just going to change it back to net assets. Again, over here, you can export the information here to a simple CSV if you want to analyze it later in a spreadsheet, maybe Excel. On the left-hand side here, we have the milestones. If we hover over the one, for example, here, this plan reaches FAT-FI. Hover over this one here, this is the actual retirement. We then have the phase here, accumulation and drawdown phase. And if we, for example, hover over each of these sections, so we have income here, click on that, it gives us the income, the gross, the tax, and the net, minus the expenses and manual contributions to your savings, and any surplus. And you can click on the arrows here to go up and down through the various years without having to close the dialog. We can do the same thing for spending. We can have a breakdown of the spending, the percentage of the income, the various categories like living expenses, how it's funded, and the amount. Again, you can use the arrows if you want to see how the spending changes for each year. Any drawdown, for example, later, when we hit that stage, we can click on that and we can see the spending shortfall, how it's calculated, the income surplus available. You can also click on account breakdown and see the ingoings and outgoings and any tax on each of the accounts, including the growth, if any. During the accumulation stage, you might be interested in seeing the contributions to your savings and your investments. Clicking on that, which you can get a breakdown which account is going to. Or if you want a more high-level view, the various groups, for example, pension or tax-free like ISA. We can then have a breakdown of the growth itself. Clicking on that, we have the calculations for analysis, how it's calculated. We can scroll down here and we get a diagnostic view showing all the calculations that's done under the covers and the return for each of the accounts. And then finally, on the last column here, we have end, which is going to give you the balance of all the start and the end balance. And you can then see exactly how that's calculated by the added and the return. By hovering over it, you can see the contribution sources, for example, the return for each of the accounts and any change. Any income that goes to a special account called income surplus, which is not assigned to a normal cash account, then this is shown here and you can see the start and the end balance. Lastly, on the right hand side, we have any special events. For example, if I click on this plan just here, we have a major event because this particular plan has been set up that it actually fails and reaches a point where there's no net assets available to fund the plan. So a property has to be sold and any real assets in order to continue funding the actual plan. And you can hover over here and we can see that we have to sell property at this point in order to continue with the plan. It's also a reminder up here, plan health, which is a general overview showing that your financial assets has run out at the age of 62 and it's then having to sell the assets in order to rely on the plan. If you're wondering where the actual rules for selling assets, that's available under asset releases tab just here, which is a topic of another video. So this video has covered a very high level overview of the table view inside HorizonLens. In future videos, we'll be doing a deeper dive into this table plan in terms of understanding how these actual calculations are done under the covers if you're interested in that level of detail.